Okay, I got a brand new Zapdex account and I want to set up my first database. So the first thing I need to do is go to utilities, and here are all the utilities, and this is the sum total of what you need to use Zapdex. And okay, so the first thing I need to do is add a database. Now, a database is a collection of information that's related to each other, like say all your contacts would be in your contacts database. You might have a database for recipes. If you're in business, you may have a business expenses database. You could even have a database for your shopping list or for things, to-do list. So, the database is the general category. And if you notice in our drop-down list here, there's like 15 items, but they're in groups. So the first three: add new database, delete database, rename database. And then, okay, so let's go ahead and add a database. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say add new database. And I'm going to call that database contacts. And submit. And now it has been created, so let's check it out. So I'm going to go home. And all your navigation is from these items here. These little, they're all in text, so you don't have to figure out what these crazy symbols mean that that are typical on the internet. Okay, so now we've got a database called contacts, and that's the only one we have so far. And we need to add records. Okay, so now what a record is each of your contacts is a record. Your boss, your coworkers, your friends, the people who provide services like doctors, a lawyer, barber, plumber, etc. Those would all be records. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to utilities, and we're going to say we want to add a new record. Okay, so database contacts, no records found, go home, submit, oops, utilities. Okay, so contacts is the database, and we want to add a record. Now notice we can want to delete any database or rename a database. The first three items in this list all pertain to the database as a whole, to each database. And then the next about 5 records are to add, rows are to add records. A record, once again, is is a specific entity, like a friend in the database or your coworker. You can add, archive. If you want to archive, that means you don't want to delete that record, but you just want to have it in the background in case you ever need to go back to it, but not visible unless you look at archive records. Delete contacts record, obviously. Rename contacts record. Okay, so you can do these things to records. Okay, and so let's go ahead and add a record. So I'm going to say add new contacts record, and I don't know. Let's go with Joe Blow. Okay, so Joe Blow has been created, and I'll add another record for the heck of it. I say Jane Doe. Oops. So now I have 2 contacts in my database. I go home, I click on submit, and there's there they are, John and Jane. Go home because I don't have any data, any fields there. So okay, so the next, so we know what a database is, and we know what a record is. Now the next item we need to consider is fields. Okay, so let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's five records that pertain to fields. So you can see out of the 15 or so that we have, all but 3 are related directly to the 3 layers of the database, 3 levels of the database. You have the overall database, which is the collection of data, the contact or the contacts are your records, and the field. So okay, so let's add a new field, and an obvious field would be name. You could go first name and last name, but in this case we're just going to say name, and we'll use first and last in there. Now the field. Okay, now the field. There's three types of fields in Zapdex. There's an input field, and here is an example of an input field. And there's a text box. And so, a field would be for a name. A text box would be for like general information, notes. If you had something you wanted to list or something that doesn't fit in every in a general category, you could use notes or comments, whatever. And that's a box, and it would be. You'll see it's got multiple. You could put as many rows as you want in there. And the other item is a drop list. And the drop list in Zapdex is to subcategorize. For example, if you have a database of contacts, well, you might have different type of contacts. You might have vendors. You might have your doctor might be there, or your lawyer, your barber, your plumber, your friends, your coworkers. Each one of those is a different category. And the drop list gives you a way to put those contacts all in one database, but say you just wanted to access the list of your coworkers or friends, then that's a sort of a secret ingredient that we have in Zapdex that makes life easier. So let's go with, okay, so we got name, and let's say input field, let's say, by the way, that's the width, okay? So we're going to make this one phone. And the phone doesn't need to be 20. Let's make it like 9. Okay, and we're going to call it phone. Wait a minute, I need to put the name in first. Let's go back to 20 and put the name in. Okay, so there's a name field, input field, submit. Okay, and now we're going to go. Notice you can't check these until you have this filled in, and that's just to avoid errors. As I was messing around with it, I noticed that it's easy to make an error if we don't do that, if we don't have a way to stop you from doing it. So we're going to say field name is phone, and we're going to put, okay, okay, we can put it above the name, below the name, to the left or the right. So these what they call them radio buttons, and that's how you position each field as you enter it. And that's also going to be an input field, and it's going to be 9 because we don't need 20, the width of 20 for a phone, for like 10 digits. Okay, submit. Okay, so we got name, phone, and I'll just put one more thing. I'll put email. Okay, so we're going to go email, and I want to put that on the same row. And that's also going to be an input field, and I'm going to leave that at 20. You can make it 30 if you wanted to see the whole email, but you can just copy and paste. So we're going to go ahead and submit, and let's make a notes section. Now here's where we're going to use our box. NOTES. Okay, so we don't need the colon. You can put it there if you want. Okay, so we got notes, and we want to put that on the next line. So down below. And that would be a text box. Okay, and by default the height is 10, the width is 40, and I'm going to make it 60 and go with the default height. Submit. Okay, now I might have different type of contacts, so what I'm going to do is you'll see the functionality of this later, but you can basically set up under your contacts you can use the drop list to set like subcategories, like once again coworkers, friends, etc. So let's go with field name is going to be say category, and let's put that. We could put it on this line, but let's go ahead and put it on this after email, and that's going to be a drop list. Okay. Now here you see a little pop-up. A drop list allows the user to enter a list of items that you want to be able to just just click in. Okay, I'm going to say, let's see. So we're going to say friend. And actually, I want to keep these in alphabetical, so we're going to say dash worker friend, and let's say service provider. I'll just say service. We'll know what that means, and submit. Okay, so now we've got our form set up, and let's take a look at it. So I'm going to go home, and I'm going to hit submit, and now here's my form. And we have name, phone, email, category, and notes. Okay, so Jane Doe, I'm just going to put Jane in there. And you'll notice how light that is. Oops, which is on purpose. And phone, we're going to say, I just make up a number. There's a good number. You can put dashes in there if you want. Or you know, you can use the standard phone format. And then the email is going to be Jane at gmail.com. And category is going to be coworker. And so I'm going to hit save. And now when I hit save, you'll notice that the light lettering becomes a full color. And that way, you know that field is live. And if you see a red field like phone, if you're on your cell phone and you tap that red field, the phone, anything with phone in it is going to show up red, and and you tap it, it'll dial that for you. And see, the notes is light. Let's just say notes is let's say say Jane is shift. Once again, now watch it. So your notes is grayed out, but once you enter a value and save it, it is no longer grayed out. So let's go home, and just for the heck of it, I'm going to put a value or two in the other one. Oh, submit. Okay, so we're going to go Joe Blow, and we're going to say set Joe. We're going to put a name. We're going to put, let's see, 714 whatever it is, 369 1234. Okay, and I'll put in the category. I'll put in friend, and save. Now you can see that you can really notice easily which fields you have values in. So when you're looking at your records, if you have a lot of records there or a lot of fields, it's easy to pick out the ones that contain data. And that's it. That's all there is to setting up a database and a record and fields. And let's see. That's okay. So let's go on to the next video.